Alright guys, so for our final project of this week, we are going to be recreating one of the most iconic engineering feats of the 20th century, NASA's Saturn V rocket. An estimated 400,000 engineers, mathematicians and manufacturers from all over the globe helped to make this rocket over the course of about 6 years. Hopefully our model will take much less time to recreate. We're going to be designing this rocket to be about 2 foot tall in the end. That's about 180th the scale of the rocket in real life. We're going to be modeling this to be 3D printable with a small cavity on the inside to fit a hobby rocket motor E-size that will produce about 7 pounds of thrust. So if you want to 3D print this and then chuck a rocket motor into it and fly it off to the moon, go ahead. But before we get started on the CAD, there is somewhere that we need to go first. Hey guys, I am in Houston, Texas right now at the NASA Museum, and we are joined with the Saturn V rocket. This is the rocket that took men to the moon in July 1969, and I think we should make it in Fusion360, 3D print it, and put a rocket and motor in it. Alright, so back to Fusion360. The first thing we're going to do is verify that our units are set to millimeters. So go up to the browser in the top left corner, expand the document settings, and check that your units are in millimeters. Anytime I'm 3D printing something, I'm always going to be designing in millimeters because it makes the slicing process so much easier. So we are going to be designing this rocket from the base up. So let's go ahead and start a sketch on the top plane. So I'm going to go into the Create pull down, click on Create Sketch, and then I'm going to be clicking on the top plane that intersects with the green and red axis. Then I'm going to be typing C to open up my circle tool. I'm going to be clicking the origin, pulling away, clicking again, and doing the same thing. Starting at the origin with one click, pulling away, and then clicking again. And then because I don't need to make another circle, I can hit escape. Now if you take a look at the circles, you can see their perimeters are actually blue, which means they are undefined. Now the center is black, which means that its location is completely defined, but I can still click and drag this to change around its diameter. I'm going to be typing D on my keyboard, clicking the outer circle, pulling my cursor away, clicking again, and this outer circle, or the diameter of the base, is going to be 54 millimeters, and then hit enter. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the inner circle, where I can click its perimeter, pull away, click again, type in 29, and hit enter. Now that 29 is going to be fitting around a size E rocket motor really well. Now I'm all done with this sketch, so I'm just going to click the green check mark in the top right hand corner, and that's going to give me this kind of diagonal view. This is called an isometric view, and anytime I'm going from a sketch to a 3D body using one of the Create tools, then I always want to have a good 3-dimensional view. We're going to be extruding up just this ring profile 360 millimeters upwards. So if you go into your Create pull down, you can see extrude is one of the top tools, and anytime you see a letter just to the right of it, that is a shortcut. So the shortcut here would be E. So I could click this tool, or I can type E on my keyboard, select this ring, and then type 360, and then enter. Now to get a better view of our rocket so far, I can move up to our view cube and click this little house icon in the top right hand corner, and that will give us a nice solid view of the entire project instead of just a small zoomed in section. Our next step is going to be adding some realistic color to this project. Now Fusion360's default material is this kind of steel gray material, but if you look at all the pictures, the original rocket was actually white. And that was because they didn't want it to absorb any of the heat and mess around with the thermals of all the materials, because it launched in a very, very hot Florida day. Now to change the color of it, I'm going to be typing A, which will open up a dialog box called Appearance. And this has got a ton of different materials and a ton of different colors that we can mess around with. But it was painted white, but it was still a steel body. So in the search bar, I'm going to be typing in white paint. This is going to come up with a few different colors, and very, very simply, you can click and drag on any of them and then drop it onto our project. And there you go, it turns white, easy as that. Now the main construction features of this rocket will be a circular profile that we can extrude upwards, and then sometimes add in just a little bit of taper, as it will start to taper up to a very, very small point at the very top. But unfortunately, we aren't able to do that currently on our rocket. Now, as you can see with our rocket so far, if we try and extrude this piece upwards and then add some taper, it's actually pulling in from the inside and the outside at the same time, which we don't want. In reality, we want to click both the ring and that center circle and extrude both of them at the exact same time. That's going to require us to use a tool called Project. Now, to use this tool, I need to start a new sketch on this top surface. So again, I'm going to go into my Create pull-down menu, click on Create Sketch, and then click on this top ring right here. This will give us a new top-down view. Now I'm going to type P for Project, and I'm going to click this entire ring surface. And when I click OK, you can see the outer edges are now highlighting in purple. What Project means is that it's taking the geometry and bringing it on and projecting it to that top layer. This will allow us to click not only the ring, but also the circle on the inside at the same time. So let's finish this sketch and go back to our 3D world, again, clicking that house icon. And I want to extrude this top surface up 30 millimeters and with a -16° taper. So again, I'm going to be typing E for extrude, and I'm going to be selecting the ring and the circle itself. I'm going to be extruding it up 30 millimeters, and then adding in just a little bit of taper. I want it to come in -16. Okay. Now our next step is to add on a cylinder from this circular profile going upwards 70 millimeters. And conveniently, because I already have a circular profile here, I don't need to make a new sketch beforehand. I can very simply type E, click this circular profile, type in 70 millimeters, and then click OK. We can then continue this pattern of stacking on normal cylinders on top of tapered cylinders and then continuing onwards. Next, I'm going to be typing E for extrude, selecting this top profile, extruding it up 44 millimeters, and then adding a taper of -9.4, and then click OK. Now, as you can see, it's relatively easy to start to stack all of these cylinders on top of each other. So we've already done 4 cylinders, so I'll let you guys do the last 4. Our next step is going to be making the thrusters and fins at the base of our rocket. And to do this, we are going to be using a new tool called the circular pattern. This is going to save us a lot of time because we only need to make 1 thruster and 1 fin and then pattern it around a central axis. We're going to be starting off by making the thruster. This is a very simple cone shape, which will start off with a circle at the base of our rocket, which will then be extruded upwards with a little bit of a taper and joined to our main body. To start off, I'm going to be making a new sketch on the underside of our rocket. So let's go into the Create pull-down menu, click on Create Sketch, and then select the bottom ring. Now, anytime you open up a new sketch, you'll notice there's this little dialog box on the left-hand side called Sketch Palette. Now, it's full of a lot of tools that I generally don't use very often, and to be honest, it's just taking up a bunch of screen real estate. So let's go ahead and minimize that, just so we've got a little bit more room to work with. So let's type C, and then click somewhere to the right of the rocket, pull away, and click again. And then hit Escape, because we don't need to make another circle. Now, as you can see, this circle does not have a defined diameter, nor does it have a defined location. But we are going to be fully constraining this circle, not by using any dimensions, but by using our constraints tools. Very simply, constraints are a way to limit the movement of certain geometry without using any dimensions. As the final placement of our circle, I want its origin to be hooked onto the outer ring of our rocket. I want its center to be horizontal to our origin, and I also want its diameter to be touching this inner circle. So let's start off by using the first constraint. That would be the horizontal and vertical tool. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click the center of our circle and then the origin. And what that's doing, if I hit Escape, you can see I can now only move the circle left and right. I can't move it up or down. It is now horizontally constrained. Next on, I want its center to be hooked on to the outer circumference of our rocket. So that's going to require us to use the second tool, which is the coincident tool. Coincident, co meaning two things, incident meaning one location, so joining two things to the same location. It's also where the word coincidence comes from. So I'm going to click the center of our circle and then the outer ring of our rocket. And there you go, it is now snapped onto it, and the center of our circle is black, which means it is fully defined. So if I hit escape, you can now see the only thing that I can do is mess around with the diameter of our circle. Like I said before, I want this circle to be touching the inner circle of our base at just one location. That by definition is a tangent relationship. So I'm going to be clicking on the tangent constraint, clicking our circle, clicking the inner circle, and there you go. Now our circle is fully defined and we are all done with this sketch. I'm going to click finish sketch and then flip around my view just by orbiting, by holding down Control and clicking the scroll wheel on your mouse and then moving your cursor around. We want to get kind of a top-down view of our extrusion. So just like before, I'm going to be typing E for extrusion, but when it comes to the profiles, I'm going to be clicking two profiles because you can see our outer ring actually slices our circle in half. So I'm going to be moving and clicking the other half, so it should say two selected next to our profiles. We're going to be extruding this upwards 45 millimeters. But as you can see, if I flick around, it's actually going downwards. And that's because it doesn't want to run into our main rocket, but we want to merge these two geometries. So I'm actually going to type in -45. And when I do that, you can see that our cylinder has now turned red, and it's actually imagining that it's cutting into our rocket. This is something that we don't want to do. So in our operation at the very bottom, I want to change this from cut to join. Now the two cylinders are now merged together into one body. I can now type in our taper angle, which will be -16 degrees, and then we can click OK. With our thruster done, we can now work on the fin, and that's going to require us to make a new sketch that passes through the front plane, so it's actually going to be intersecting with our thruster. So go into the Create pull down and click Create Sketch, and then we can click on the front plane, which intersects the blue and red axis. I can move my rocket around the screen just by clicking and holding the scroll wheel. This is called panning, and that will give us enough room to make our fin profile just the right-hand side. I'm going to be typing L for the line tool, and I'm going to be making just a very general trapezoid shape. There we go. Then I can click Escape to get rid of the line tool, and the only constraint that I need to put on this is a coincident relationship between that bottom horizontal line and the origin. If I hit Escape, you can now see that this line can only extend or be pulled away by pointing to the origin. I can now start off dimensioning my trapezoid. So I'm going to type D for dimension, and let's click on this left vertical line, bring our dimension line over to the right, click again, and this wants to be 26 millimeters tall, and then we can hit Enter to define that. Now, as you can see, our sketch is actually running into our body a little bit, and it might make it a little hard to see what's going on in future sketches. So let's click Escape, and then we can actually click and drag this sketch away from our body. I can then type D again, and now we can define the width of our trapezoid. So I'm going to click this bottom horizontal line, pull below, click again, and this is going to be 25 millimeters. I can also define the right vertical line. This is going to be 6 millimeters tall. And then the distance from the left vertical line to the origin, that is going to be 27 millimeters. That way it lines up with the outer diameter of the main body. So we are all done with this sketch, so let's go ahead and finish this sketch. And then let's get a three-dimensional view of our fin, because we're going to be extruding it into our thruster, and just like we ran into before, I'm going to be changing this from a cutting operation to a joining operation. So let's type E for extrude. It already has our profile selected because there is only one open profile, and this wants to be extended 2 millimeters. As you can see, it's turning red. That signifies a cutting operation. We want to go down to our operation in our dialog box, change that to join. The other thing you want to notice is that we made this sketch on the front plane, which runs through the very center of our rocket. But if you take a look at the right-hand view of your view cube, it's actually now going off to the side. Now nothing is symmetric, and it's actually going to be a little bit lopsided. And anytime you're dealing with aeronautics, having a lopsided rocket, generally not the best idea. So let's make this a symmetric extrusion where it's pulling out 1 millimeter on either side. I'm going to be changing our direction from one side to symmetric. And then instead of our half length, I want to say 2 millimeters is the entire length. Then I can click OK, and now I've got a perfectly symmetric fin. Now, like we said before, we have made just one fin and one thruster, so we want to use the circular pattern to make the other 3. So that's going to be found in the Create pull-down menu, way at the bottom, go Pattern, and then Circular Pattern. And we get this very simple dialog box, where it's essentially saying, what is the object type, what objects do you want to pattern, what is the central axis, and then what is the quantity. Now currently the object type is set to bodies, but if we go to our browser and expand this, we only have one body because all of our extrusions for the thruster and the fin were set to join, so there is only one body. But instead, to separate them, I actually want to change the bodies to features. Now this is where we need to go into our timeline, because we've got all of the features that would make up our entire rocket. These two extrusions right here, the most recent one is for the fin, and the second recent extrusion is for the thruster. So I'm going to be clicking on the 2 most recent extrusions. Now it's asking what is the central of axis. Well, that is going to be the blue Z axis, which runs through the center of our rocket. So next to axis, I'm going to click where it says select, and now I'm going to orbit to the underside of my rocket. Conveniently, we've got a hole running through the middle, so we can just click the blue Z axis. Now it's automatically going to be set to a quantity of 3, but I would like 4 of them. So I'm going to be increasing this to 4 and then clicking OK. So just like that, we've taken an operation that would normally take 8 steps to do, and we've compressed it down to only just 1. And just like that, we have got a recreation of the Saturn V rocket. Pretty cool. But currently, it doesn't look quite like the Saturn V rocket. It looks completely white, and if you look at all of the footage and pictures of the Saturn V rocket, it's actually got all these black markers on it. So let's make it look a little bit more interesting, going back to the Appearance tool by typing A. So for our rocket, I want to be adding in some metallic colors to this top cylinder here, and then all over the thrusters and the fins. So currently the Apply To section is set to Bodies and Components. I'm going to be changing this to the Faces. So let's zoom in on the very top of our rocket, and I'm going to be dragging on the steel appearance to this top cylinder right there. You can see that in all of the footage of the rocket actually launching. Then I'm going to be zooming and panning down, and this is where you'll get some really good practice with the Orbit tool, because I want to click and drag this onto all of the thrusters and all of the fins. So go ahead and take a little time, play around with the orbiting tool, and click and drag the steel appearance onto all of the faces. Alright guys, so our rocket is looking fantastic, and the last thing we can do is actually export this model as an augmented reality file, so you guys can place it on a tabletop and see what it looks like in real life. To do this, I'm going to be going up to our top left corner and clicking File. Scrolling down, go to Export, and we can name this anything you'd like. Something like Saturn V rocket AR model works quite well. For the file type, we are going to be setting this as a .usd. That's the very last file type here. This was invented by Apple and Pixar and is kind of the industry standard augmented reality file. So if you have a smartphone, you guys can view these models without having to download any extra apps. You guys can now export this file and save it to your cloud account, whether it be iCloud files or Google Drive, anything you'd like, just so you can open it up on your smartphone. If you're using Apple's iOS, then you can save your file to your iCloud Files account, go onto your phone, open up the Files app, and then click on the USD file. Hold your camera over a tabletop and you can see your rocket interact with your real-world environment. Move your camera around so you can see all the details of your rocket at all different kinds of angles, so you can show everyone exactly what your part will look like and how it will interact with the real world. If you're feeling energized by this project, go ahead and try and play around with some of the tools inside this software so you can customize your rocket and make it look as interesting or as accurate as you want. The best way to learn more about this program is simply just by making cool things that you're excited about. So go ahead and customize as much as possible, and I hope you had fun.